You only live once. YOLO. A phrase that has ironically been turned into a justification for reckless behavior that actually holds you back in this one special life that you have. How often has "you only live once" been used as a justification for not caring about the future? As a justification for making dumb decisions like drinking too much, taking drugs, eating shit food, etc. Which is actually a shame, because I think that "you only live once" can remind of a profound truth that many people seem to either not be aware of or to actively try to ignore for some reason. "You only live once" should remind you that you only have this one life and you better make it count. It should remind you that the dreams you have are only yours to achieve. And if you do not at least try to achieve them, you'll just lie on your deathbed thinking about what could have been had you actually tried. And I know this may sound to many of you as just like being over dramatic about a simple saying, about something that is actually pretty obvious, but let's just look objectively at some numbers and probabilities, and then I'll let you judge if I'm being over dramatic or not. Because I think you don't actually understand how lucky you actually are. First, let's look at the probability of you actually being born in the first place by being the sperm that reached the egg first. Whether you know it or not, that's already basically a zero probability. There are millions of sperms and you're the one that made it to the egg first. Then you have the probability of your parents actually meeting and deciding to have a baby together. There are 8 billion people on this earth. The chance of your parents meeting and actually having a baby are pretty low also. But then the same probability of your parents meeting and having a baby, and that baby being you, also can be applied to your grandparents meeting and each of your grandparents having your parents as a baby. So that's already an insanely low probability. And you can repeat this for all of the generations of your family that came before that. And the further back you go, the more historical events like wars and illnesses actually play a role. Your ancestors had to survive historical events just to give their genes to the next generations. Like, just think about this. If one of your ancestors had died during the French Revolution or the bubonic plague, you wouldn't be here today. The sum of all of the life decisions of all of your ancestors led to you being here watching this video in this moment. And it doesn't stop there. When we go back even further, we have to take into consideration that humans had to even develop first from our ape-like ancestors, and that they evolved from the species that came before them, and so on and so on and so on. Now, this is all already incomprehensibly unlikely, but it doesn't stop there. Like, what is the probability of life even developing on Earth? And what is the probability of Earth even having the right preconditions for life to be able to develop on Earth? Like an atmosphere and the exact right distance to the sun. And what is even the probability of our solar system developing the way it did? What is the probability of the Milky Way forming? What is the probability of the Big Bang occurring? You might think it has to stop there, right? But what is the probability of the fundamental physical laws of our universe being exactly the way they are, and even allowing atoms and molecules to develop and to form more complex structures that allow us to exist today? What is the probability of there even being anything to begin with? And the funny thing is, I probably forgot like thousands to millions of little micro events that all had to happen exactly as they did just for you to be alive today. Google says the probability of you being alive is 1 to 10 to the power of 2,685,000. That is an unimaginably large number. A 1 with 2,685,000 zeros. And I personally think that is still understated. Because how could one even think of all the preconditions that had to be exactly right to get to this exact point? But let's just stick with this number right now. I couldn't even show you the number typed out on the screen because it is just so incredibly large. The human mind can't comprehend numbers of that magnitude. You could win the main prize in the lottery every day of your life, over and over and over again, and you still wouldn't come close to being this low of a probability. And that's the point I'm trying to make here. You already won the lottery by being born. The chance of you existing is basically zero, and yet here you are, beating all the odds. That's the point I'm trying to make you understand, and the reason I started this channel. This life is unbelievably valuable, and you should use it to become the best version of yourself. Most people who could ever exist will never exist. You have won the lottery, and most people will never even get to know that there was ever a lottery. So after all that had to happen for you to exist, after you've beaten all the odds just to be here, you're not even gonna do the work to reach your own potential. You don't even want to find out how much you could accomplish in this life. This is what I'm trying to tell you with all of this. Don't waste this life. Now that you know how rare and precious it is, try everything within your power to reach your dreams and to become the best version of yourself, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Per aspera ad astra, and Merry Christmas.